I did several reviews on the OLED arc feld, and people were begging me to review the NiteCore EDC27. They thought that the shape was very similar, and it is a similar shape, but that is exactly where the similarities end. Welcome back to Shul Lights. I got the NiteCore EDC27 here, and it is a very unique shape. I can see why people saw the arc feld and felt, oh, flat flashlight similar to this. But truly, they are much different flashlights, and I'm really glad that I reviewed this because it's just not like the arc feld at all. The arc feld is a moderately bright EDC light that's meant to be very lightweight and very compact. This is a little bit larger, and man, it is a ton of lumens. And it isn't multifunction, really. It's basically just light. I mean, you've got tactical strobe and turbo and those kinds of things, but the interface is much different. And let's just jump to it. Okay, so this is the box it comes in, and it's a really nice retail box with the UV trapping on the graphics here. And you can see it's kind of a cool-looking box with a bunch of information on it. But I don't love to spend too much time on boxes. Let's talk about the actual light itself. Let's take a look at it size-wise. So this is a small EDC light, this ThruNite Archer Pro. This is a 14500 sized light. You can see that the EDC27 is a larger light, but also notice that it is arguably thinner. So that is the beauty of this form factor, is that you're getting two emitters, a ton of light, in a lot of runtime, in a light that in your pocket doesn't feel very bulky at all. So this is kind of a pocket-defying situation where you get a bigger light in your pocket for what it feels like. This light right here, this is a Prometheus Alpha. Let's get a good focus on that. This Prometheus Alpha is a little bit longer. It runs on an 18650. This is not a efficient, space-efficient flashlight. You know, the Zebra light, which runs on 18650, is about this long. So this is kind of built like a tank, but I think of it as a work light, and I think of this EDC27 as a work light as well. I know it says EDC, and heck, you could EDC both of these, but I definitely feel like these are for people that use flashlights a lot every single day at their job. So you can see that this is definitely a thinner light that feels like less in your pocket. So that's a good comparison right there. And by the way, this one gets almost 3 times brighter than this one. So kudos to NiteCore for cramming a ton of lumens into this light. Okay, quick look at the ergonomics and shape of this. It's got a really kind of, futuristic shape to it. Looks very untraditional. So if you're looking for something fresh, something that's not your typical flashlight, this is sure to turn heads. People are going to say, what is that? What do you got there? I mean, when I carry this, I carried it to Disneyland, and one of the security guys asked me what it was, thinking it was a vape or something like that. He didn't know what he was looking at. I told him it was a flashlight, and he was like, oh, okay, flashlight. So that's a good look at it right there. I will tell you ergonomically that it feels great in hand. There's nothing sharp. It feels actually just really good. I like the way it feels. And the clip here is a really good clip that I really like. It's got a lot of tension to it. It's not going to let go. I have to push really hard to get that to flex. So this is not going to fall out of your pocket. And perhaps one of the reasons why it's so hard to lift it is this kind of cutout design right here. Do you see where they've got a piece of metal that goes up and over like that? So that gives it a lot of tension there. So that's awesome. There's screws here, but I do not think those screws, I don't know, I didn't test it. Perhaps if you remove those, you could remove this clip, but why would you? This is a great clip. So I didn't test that, sorry to say. Now let's take a look at the buttons itself. And it's got 2 buttons on the back here, okay? And they have imprinting in the mold. So you can see this one on the back has the international symbol for on-off, which is a circle with a line in it. And then on the left here, you got a mode button. So each of these buttons are two-stage, meaning, you get one press and a deeper press. And let's start talking about the UI in a moment here, because we're leading into it, but I want to tell you that there's a display right here. It's an OLED display, and I want to point out that if you see any flickering at all, and you probably do, the flickering is just due to the frame rate of the camera I'm using. In person, I detect no flicker, and it was bright enough to read in the daytime, and it's easy to read at night. So now let's talk about the UI. All right, it's the UI. Here we go. So you got an on-off button on the side here, and you just do a light tap, and it turns on, and it reads the battery level, the voltage, and the mode level we're at. And so let me turn it off again. Let me turn it back on, and you'll see that it says we are at level 1. Let me do that again. Yeah, there we go. Level 1 right there. Now, all that pressing I was doing, all that light pressing I was doing was just giving me a status display. Notice that the light is not on. So I can just do a light tap, see information about what level I would come on at, what battery level I'm at, but I'm not turning the light on. But if I do a hard click, you'll see it says I'm at level 1, 15 lumens, and that I have 37 hours and 10 minutes of runtime at 15 lumens. Okay? Now, while it's on, and you can see it's on right there, if I do a light click, it'll remind me of what I'm at, but if I light click again, it'll now take it up to level 2, tell me the new runtime, which is over 12 hours, and it just got brighter. If I click again, it'll now be level 3, tells me I got 4 hours. It's brighter still, and if I click again, it'll even tell me that it's 1,000 lumens. And if I click one more time, I go back to level 1. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we got 15 lumens, 65 lumens, 200 lumens, and 1,000 lumens. Now, those are not all the lumens we have. We have a hidden turbo. The hidden turbo is on this mode button on the left. Now, the fact that it says mode is a little disingenuous, because notice I was changing the modes of the light by lightly clicking over here, right? So really, this flatter button is going to be turbo and strobe, okay? So from on or off, if I do a light press right here, okay, and it's a press and hold, a light press, you see I go straight to turbo, 3,000 lumens. And if I do a harder press, and I go to strobe, and it doesn't say anything on the display. So let's show you that on camera here. Let's get some focus. So I'll do a light press and go straight to turbo, and I'll do a hard press and I go to strobe. So you have shortcuts to turbo on this flatter button, and then the main mode groups are over here on the left. Sorry, no moonlight modes. This is not for creeping around the house at night. 15 lumens is the lowest you have. All right, let's talk about the battery and charging. So the batteries are built in. They're non-user replaceable. They are almost 2,000 milliamp hour. They're 1,700 milliamp hours. So that is kind of on par. Well, it's over what an 18350 would be. It's over what a 14500 would be, but it's a little less than your typical 18650, which would be about 3,500 milliamp hours. So you've got something in the middle between those two modes. You got almost double what an 18350 would be, but about 2/3-ish of what an 18650 would be. Now, the charge port is right here on the side. Let me get a good focus, and there's a little kind of a hard, it's rubbery, but it almost feels hard plastic. I don't know, it's harder than rubber, floppy doodle that you flip up, and you've got a USB-C port right there that says input. So you charge in right there, and one of the beauties here, and I want to show this to you, let me get my charge cable over here, is that when I plug it in, let me go ahead and do so, the display comes on, and it doesn't just tell you that it's charging, it tells you exactly what the voltage of the battery is. And you can see that I'm fully charged right now. So it will charge up to 4.2 volts and then terminate, but you can actually see the voltage rise as you're charging, which, as a nerd, I love. All right, so this light is cool white max output. It's low CRI. It's about 6,000 CCT. So we're not winning any tint awards here, but if you want max output, it's awesome. Let's go ahead and turn this light on. Let me get on the so-called 15 lumens. You can see that, I got a little light leak here, but for the most part, let me get my blocked out here. You can see that it's quoted at 15 lumens and we're getting 19 lumens about. Okay, cool. Let's go to the next mode. And this would be 65 lumens, and we're getting more than they say. We're getting about 110 lumens. Let's click it again to 200 lumens. And I am reading 250, 260 lumens. And lastly, we have 1,000 lumens, but as soon as I put it in, it goes to 100 lumens, reminding me there's a bounce sensor, which is a welcome addition because it prevents you from melting your pocket. But the bounce sensor is activating inside the lumen tube. I tried a couple different click, arrangements here, trying to see if there was a defeat for the bounce sensor. I don't know of one, and I didn't see one in the manual. Doesn't mean there isn't a hidden way to do it, and maybe you guys will chime in the comments and let me know. But I was unable to test the 1000 or turbo 3000 mode because of the bounce sensor. You can see that what happens is I hit turbo, and as soon as I go in, do you see it step down? It starts out really bright, and then see that step down? As soon as the light bounces back into the optic, it detects it and steps down for safety. All right, let's take a look at some beam shots with the EDC27. So let's go ahead and click it on here, and let me go to the 15 lumens mode. So this is 15 lumens. Let me go ahead and tilt it towards the ground here. There's 15, and there's the 65. And you can see it's a very soft beam, but it's not super floody. It's just kind of medium floody, I'd say. Now let's go ahead and tilt back up, and let me go to the 1000. Let me go to the high, not the turbo, but the high, and there, and hopefully you'll see this on the drone shot, the way the beam is. It is pretty floody. Not the floodiest thing I've ever seen, but it is floody. Now let's go ahead and go to turbo, and you can see how bright this thing is. This little light really lights up the entire block, doesn't it? Had a little step down there, so I'll reset. 3,000 lumens in your pocket. Amazing. The NiteCore EDC27 is just such a unique looking light. There's very few lights like this. And as I said, it's just so much brighter than an arc feld, so I didn't even bother pitting it against arc feld. Arc feld is 300 lumens. This thing's 3,000 lumens. They're just completely different lights. And also, arc feld is really known for having an additional laser, additional UV emitter, and this thing is just pure light, pure, unadulterated flashlight. So if you're looking for a slim flashlight to fit in your pocket, one that has instant access to turbo and instant access to strobe, look no further than the NiteCore EDC27. I found this thing a blast to use. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next review.